Hello everyone, my name is Eric, aka the Nascent Nimrod, and I have an opinion that I felt compelled to share with you today. I've recently been exposed to the discourse around Pride Parade and displays of sexuality therein, and have been disappointed, disenchanted maybe, at the takes of some online personalities and content creators that I had come to respect. This video will mainly be about Vosh. Go visit him at Vosh.gg, throw money at his Patreon, what have you. A link to his video will be in the description. However this conversation started, the long and short of it is that there have been many opinions shared about the acceptability of kink at pride parades. Vosh seems to think that the parades ought to be as inclusive as possible, and therefore should be child-friendly.
I think pride should be appropriate to children, okay? I think that you should be like, if you're like a gay parent, if you're like 35, and you got like a 9-year-old kid, you should be able to go there. And not only should you be able to go there, you should be able to invite like your kids' friends' parents there. Like you should be, hey, like my kid and your kid want to hang out. Maybe they could go this and we could like hang out or something, like that kind of thing, you know? Like that's how presentable I want it to be.
First and foremost, I think what Vosh is saying is not necessarily wrong. The event should be as inclusive as possible while maintaining its core components. That's very important. If Pride lets go of its core elements in the name of inclusivity, then it is no longer performing its function, which, to my mind, is the normalization and acceptance of marginalized identities and practices. Here's the thing that people, including Vosh, seem not to want to acknowledge. That those marginalized identities are based primarily around non-standard sexual practices, sexual preferences, and gender performance. Thus, Pride always has been and always will be what I would deem a sex parade. That is to say, a parade dedicated to sexual identity. That is a core component, and it cannot and should not be stripped away from the event, certainly not for the sake of children. Let me state my position concisely. Pride Parade is a sex parade, and that's okay. Make your decision about whether you want to allow your kids to attend it based on that simple fact. Now here's the next thing that Vosh says that makes me very wary of his understanding of what Pride is about.
The lines are culturally determined, and they're variable, and they're arbitrary, and they differ from culture to culture. I'd be okay with pride parades in Europe maybe being a little bit more permissive with nudity than pride parades in America, for the same reason that I think it's okay to do some things in some countries, but not other things in other countries. The broader utilitarian concern is conforming to the cultural expectations that you live of the country you live in.
Now let me see if I have this right. The broader utilitarian concern is conforming to the cultural expectations of the country you live in. I think we can all agree that 1, most Americans aren't gay, and 2, most Americans are still made uncomfortable by expressions of homosexual love and attraction. I think it's fair to say that homophobia is a large part probably, of American culture. If we were to apply Vosh's logic to the United States, then I don't see how we could justify having a pride parade at all. Well, I don't accept that logic. Being as charitable as possible, what we may say is that the event should try not to transgress social norms to an extreme degree. He gives this example.
And if you disagree with that, then my follow-up question would be, how would you feel about going to Saudi Arabia as long as you were given some kind of diplomatic immunity and holding a pride parade over there using the same kind of clothing and attitudes that you do over here in the States? You fucking wouldn't, would you? No, you fucking wouldn't. No, you would not. Absolutely you would not. None of you are stupid enough to try. Because the cultural inclinations of a society matter when deciding how to behave in public events there.
Fair enough. I don't think a man wearing a leather gimp suit transgresses social norms enough in America to warrant immediate violence, as we are to presume would happen in Saudi Arabia, especially in the context of Pride, where people are primed by past events to expect that sort of dress to be on display. It's the whole point, I would say. Well, he goes on to say this.
I just want to point out, by the way, that like basically all Pride or queer-oriented events that aren't the main Pride event every year are already catering to adult interests. So the people who are saying we should be able to be super fucking horny in public are saying not only do we deserve all of this territory and all of this territory and all the clubs and all the events and all the bars and all the private parties, we also deserve the main Pride event, which they're free to go to, by the way. Just wear clothes. That's what they're saying. And I find their arguments unconvincing and their behavior incredibly selfish.
And to that I say, yeah, maybe people do want to be weird and horny and sexy during Pride, and in the various venues and events surrounding it. And you know what? I think that's okay too. It's one day a year. I will not call them selfish for wanting a day that can be about them and their sexuality. Straight people have, let's say, Mardi Gras, and the gays get Pride. I think we can call it there. In any case, thank you for listening to what I have to say on the matter. Hopefully we can move the discourse forward in a more fruitful direction. Hit my subscribe button, leave likes and or dislikes and comments. If you want to give money, too bad. I do not as of yet have a Patreon, but have a good day.